The Sith Order has gone through many drastic changes over several millennia, including multiple complete overhauls of the Order. In many aspects, the only thing many of these organizations have in common was the name Sith. The Sith have fallen and risen several times, each time the Order more evolved in certain aspects, but also lacking in others. In Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Dark Lady of the Sith Traya made a statement concerning the ancient Sith Empire and what Traya believed a true Dark Lord really was. She said this: "If you were to face an ancient Sith Lord in combat, you would learn that we are as children playing with toys compared to the prowess of the old masters." The Sith Traya was referring to was the Dark Lord Tulik Hord, who was considered the finest lightsaber duelist of his era, especially impressive concerning he belonged to an era where proving one's dominance over others was of the utmost importance among the once vast Sith Empire. For over a century, Hord reigned undefeated, only being usurped when his apprentice stabbed him in the back. But despite this single example, is there any truth behind this statement that Traya made, that the ancient Sith are far more powerful than the more modern Sith and dark-side users of the galaxy? In fact, there is some truth within Traya's words, that the ancient Sith were more powerful, but to delve into exactly what made this so, we must look at the timeline and key differences between the generations of Sith. The era of Sith Traya is referring to in this statement is the era of the Sith purebloods, which bred such notable Dark Lords as the previously mentioned Tulik Hord. Unfortunately, little is known of the Sith this far back in the timeline, only that they were less devoted to culture and knowledge and possessed a more potent and pure connection to the dark side. The truly powerful Dark Lords, however, would follow soon after. Across the stars, members of the Jedi Order discovered new, terrifying ways to use the Force, as they learned they could use it to manipulate and physically transform life forms. This power and knowledge was only shared in the dark corners of the Jedi Order, until the numbers practicing this new perception of the Force were too many for the Council to ignore. The Council deemed these so-called advancements dangerous and ordered their brethren to abandon all experiments. Unfortunately, however, the power the now Dark Jedi held was too alluring to sacrifice. Because of this, war was sparked, as the Jedi shattered from within. During this time, the wielders of such power fully succumbed to the dark side of the Force. For 100 years, the Dark Jedi and Jedi fought one another, until one day the Jedi reigned victorious. Although the day was won, the Jedi refused to execute their former brothers, instead stripping them of all weaponry and sending them into unknown space to contemplate their transgressions. Following their exile, the Dark Jedi did find something, but it was not remorse or repentance. The Dark Jedi found the Sith Empire. As the Dark Jedi mingled and bred with the Sith, a new order was formed from which the truly gifted Dark Lords would originate. Quote, "Once we were mighty Jedi of the Republic, brothers in the Force, but the great schism between the dark side and the light side turned Jedi against Jedi. Our ancestors were defeated, driven off, cast out." End quote. This era of Sith possessed both the raw connection to the dark side of their ancestors as well as the academic achievements of the Jedi. During this era, it was also proven that simply being a Sith pureblood or not did not dictate one's power in the dark side of the Force, as some of the most notable Dark Lords of this era, such as Marka Ragnos and Naga Sadow, were half-breeds between the ancient race of Sith and Dark Jedi. The power of these ancient Sith were more dedicated to a combination of their strength and connection to the dark side and their dedication to the doctrine they studied. Again in this era, the Sith even constructed a prophecy similar to that of the Jedi that told of a Sith Lord that would one day rise to destroy the Order, but that it would strengthen its power and the Sith would return mightier than ever. The technology and knowledge of the fallen Jedi mixed with the potent connection of the Sith purebloods and appeared to have created the ultimate dark-side warriors and servants. However, tragedy struck. The Sith Lord Naga Sadow became too ambitious, attacking Republic space and being defeated after being driven back to the Sith homeworld. The result was a scattering of the Order, and in many's opinion, the end of the golden age of the Sith Empire. The Sith, however, would be reborn, but much differently. Just as before, the Sith would stem from the Jedi, as Sith like Exar Kun and Revan would emerge. In this new era, a plot was discovered that changed things forever. Remnants of the ancient Sith Empire had survived, as the Dark Lord Vitiate had lived beyond the death of Naga Sadow, an invasion of the Sith homeworld by the Republic, and had rebuilt from the shadows. Although far less pure-blooded Sith or even half-breeds remained, the reigning Emperor had risen from the glory days of the old Empire. This again, though, would not last, as centuries of conflict with the Jedi and Republic led to their eventual defeat and near extinction. After the Sith became somewhat reorganized by again a fallen Jedi now deemed Darth Ruin, the Jedi Order took drastic action to eliminate them once and for all. The Jedi granted a member of their order, Khan, great armies and power, and for a time, he successfully defeated the remaining Sith. However, he became power drunk and found himself agreeing with much of the Sith philosophy. Deeming himself a Sith Lord, the Jedi were forced to raise arms against him. It was here the chosen one of the Sith foretold long ago would emerge. Darth Bane, who was indoctrinated into the Sith Empire, was disgusted by Khan and his views. Quote, "The Brotherhood of Darkness was nothing but a twisted perversion of the Jedi Order, a dark parody of the very thing we stood against." End quote. Realizing this, Bane eventually destroyed the Sith and rebuilt the Order from ash, just as the prophecy had foretold. Following this, the Sith Order again changed, and a new era began. They no longer focused primarily on combative prowess. They became intellectuals and influential individuals with great power, not only when concerning the Force, but in all aspects. The definition of power for these Sith Lords became far different than that of their ancestors. So to answer the question, yes, in some ways the ancient Sith were more powerful, that inherent and pure connection to the dark side being a big reason as to why. As time went on, the Order had become diluted, mostly through Jedi teachings as a result of so many prominent Sith being former Jedi themselves. However, the more modern Sith were far more advanced and powerful in other ways. In my opinion, many of the Sith of Bane's era, such as Sidious and Bane himself, rank amongst the old masters of the Golden Sith Empire as far as power and influence. So for this question, there is no definitive yes or no, as the Sith and their evolution are akin to an axe and a saw. Both are powerful and productive, but in very different ways. So what is your opinion concerning the power of the ancient Sith, and which era of Dark Lords do you believe was the most powerful? Is there truth in the words of Darth Treya, or was this another deception of the Dark Lady of the Sith? If you enjoyed the video, could find the time, and feel it deserves it, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like, as it would help the channel out a great deal. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related, from news, theories, and explanation videos. If you would like to interact with me directly, you can follow me on Twitter at Stupendous Wave, as that is the best place to reach me. If you have any video suggestions, you can leave them in the comment section down below, or again, tweet them at me, again at Stupendous Wave. Thanks so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.